Very good morning and welcome to whoever is joining us at whatever time you are watching this pre-recorded show. We are recording early doors on Tuesday the 18th for the 19th of February, Wednesday. Where racing is set to take place at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. In studio with me is Warren Lenferner, and we'll be taking you through the races, the 8-race program. Firstly, Warren, how are you doing? And secondly, what do you make of this card?
Morning, Sheldon. Yes, all good. Thank you. Lovely to be working alongside you again. And as always, a competitive card, but we're certainly going to do our best to have a look and give our selections and hope for a good day's racing. Competitive, but exciting as always.
100% right. Let's get to the business. Race number 1, the betting, 3-1 the field. Number 9, O Space O, MJ Udendal, Sean Veal. This is a horse who came to KwaZulu-Natal at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, put the blinkers on, went the mile, and showed the expected improvement this centre. So there's a lot to like about number 9, O Space O. Number 2 is White Seahorse at 33-10. Now remember, Warren, last time out the money came in buckets for this individual. Career best went second behind the Wolf. And obviously Space O, we'll have to see how this horse builds on that last run. And then number 3, Ventador, well-tested, tried maiden, had the 9 runs to date. That is currently at 4-1. You can get 6-1 and better the rest. Now when looking at this event, last time White Seahorse, the talk was unbeatable. The money came in bucket droves. And I just think with that run under the belt, going to have a huge performance. Cole Dickin gets the chance. And then O Space O, if you look at that second to Ragnar the King, first up here, blinkers, stepped up to the mile, different centre. I think this is going to be a huge runner. Between the two of them, I think the winner will come.
Yes, you know, this horse O Space O, sometimes when you see horses improve out the blue, you know, you think, well, maybe it's a flash in the pan, etc. But I think the fact that, as you say, change of scenery, change of environment, etc., blinkers on certainly helped. And he's a nicely bred horse by Vercingetorix out of a Karari mare from Main Chance Farms. Wasn't cheap either. I think he'll follow up with another good run, and it could quite well be a winning run. White Seahorse, yes, same sort of scenario, new centre, new province, well back, touched off on local debut. So I don't think those runs were flash in the pans. I think we're going to see serious efforts and could be winning efforts from both of them. 2 horses to include into the quartets at long prices. 4 Parliament Square, third run back from a layoff. I think he can improve to run into the back end of quartets. And then number 11, 2 Can Tango for Frank Robinson. Never too far off the action. Would have needed his last start. He'll be much tighter this time. Another horse that these 2 horses, Sheldon, I don't think can win. Well, they all can win. I suppose they're in the race. But I'm expecting them to improve and to provide some value for the back end of the quartets. And then, of course, Prince Florian. I'm not going to turn my back on Prince Florian either. So, White Seahorse, O Space O look to be the principals, but I've got respect for Prince Florian and my 2 lurkers, Parliament Square and 2 Can Tango.
Well, that's a look at race number 1. If you're not sold on numbers 2 and 9, then you'll obviously be looking a little bit further. But for me, number 2, White Seahorse, and number 9, O Space O. Those will be the 2 horses fighting it out. And then if you had to push me for a third selection, I'd probably go with number 3, Ventador.
Second race on the card is the Key Pietermaritzburg Maiden Plate. It's for fillies over 1,600 metres, and the race will go off at the top of the hour, 1 o'clock. It's the first leg of the place accumulator, and they're racing for a stake of 100,000 Rand. And to remind everybody that the show, as Sheldon said, is recorded fairly early ahead of schedule for the race meeting. So please check your scratchings, jockey changes, etc., betting movements before taking your bets. It is a pre-recorded show. At the time of scratchings, at least at the time of recording rather, there were no scratchings in the second race. There are 2 scratchings on the card, which we'll tell you when we get there. But the second race, Sheldon, Paul Lafferty stable seems to be having the winners now, and his horses were always running there and thereabouts. But 2 good winners on the last race meeting in KwaZulu-Natal. And yeah, he's got the Fever, who is returning from a 13-week rest. But her recent form has been fairly decent. She gets Muzi Yeni, she gets a cozy draw. If she's not too much in need of it, I think she could be the one that will have to fear the most. But in saying that, it's never that easy because La Vida Loca's got some form and only been at this course twice and placed both times, this filly. She's overdue her maiden win. She's a Rocket is my lurker in the race. I just believe that she's a filly that's lightly raced. Her form's not the greatest, but I'm not prepared to accept that these couple of runs is all that she's going to offer. So I'm expecting improvement from She's a Rocket as my outsider. I think Glorious Butterfly for Dennis Bosch, a horse that's never too far off them, lightly raced, and surely is going to win her heat in the next couple of starts, if not the start on Wednesday. So 2, 3, 4, 9 are my numbers, but I think Got the Fever is the one to beat.
Yes, just looking at the betting, number 2, Got the Fever, 2-1, and the winning, Paul Lafferty Stables got the winning formula at the moment, so they've got to be hot, and you have to respect this individual. When you look at number 3, La Vida Loca, that's currently trading at around 33-10, and 7-2, number 9, Glorious Butterfly. Barring that 10-1, so there's only 3 runners in single figures. Originally, I was going to go with number 2, Got the Fever, because she did take on the boys' captain Oliver in the penultimate run. And then last time out, 5th behind Grand Occasion. Some neat form lines in the bank, but with the recent weather patterns and the rain and the guys have missed a bit of work, it's thrown me in the camp of number 3, La Vida Loca. Ran 2nd to Warza Nowhere, 3rd to Mocha Blend, who's come out and obliterated the opposition since. So I'm going to go number 3, La Vida Loca, with the racing experience and the form and the fitness. Then I'm going to go number 2, Got the Fever, and healthy respect for number 9, Glorious Butterfly. Rachel Venica partners this one, and then your horse number 4, She's a Rocket, a definite one for the trifectas and quartets. But in summarizing race number 2, I believe that number 3, La Vida Loca, and number 2, Got the Fever, ahead of number 9, Glorious Butterfly, that could be the play. Welcome back as we step into race number 3, which is a class 3, the benchmark at 60 kilograms, which equals 92, and is over 1600 meters. Betting suggests number 6, Johnny the Thief, is at 4-1. Capsaicin, number 11, is 5-1. The Hollywood team hold a very strong hand here. Number 8, I Salute You, 5-1. 11-2, number 3, Famous Warrior, and number 2, Sundance Kid. My narrow first selection will be the other Hollywood horse, number 5, Kitchikel, at around 6 and 7-1, and then number 1, Mexican Peter, 10-1. That'll be my next selection. So I'm going to go from 1 and 5, but 5 to win from 1. Now, Kitchikel loves the course and distance, loves the wet conditions, and if you look at that penultimate run, the average rating in the Michael Roberts race was 102. Third, 3 lengths behind Emalenze Yoko de Duma. I think that could be good enough to run a huge race here. This is a horse who needs a lot of luck in the running warren and a lot of things to go his way. Then you've got number 4, Twatwa Cut. Number 1, Mexican Pete, a horse who's climbing the ladder. And I believe that this off his rating of 91. Now, they've dropped him the 5 points for his last run. His last 2 runs disappointing. But when he ran to Quasi for Sure and Good Traveller, he put up some decent runs there. So he'll be my second pick. And then number 4, Twatwa Cut. And a horse like number 7, Down by the River. The claim will help.
I'm glad you mentioned Down by the River, because I think he's going to be factored into all bets, but we'll get to Down and by the River in a moment. Yes, your case with regards to Kitchikel's a good one, a strong one, course and distance, thrives. His last win, which was 4 starts ago, that was a gutsy performance. He really performed really tenaciously that day to get up and beat Lindbergh by the shortest of short heads. I know that Lindbergh's had 1 or 2 runs since and may not have won. But nevertheless, that was a good effort. It certainly was a good effort, Kitchikel. And you're right, things need to go his way. Atandiwe Magudwa has now learned his every move. So, and when we're recording, I think at around 6-1 Kitchikel. So that's a good price for this Hollywood-owned horse. You mentioned Hollywood have a strong hand. I'm quite respectful of the other runner, Capsaicin. It was one off an 89, gone up to a 92. Had a couple of starts in the province, couple of starts for the stable, and he's really come good again, has Capsaicin. His awkward draw's not going to make it easy, but he gets Sean Veal, their retained jockey, so I've got healthy respect for Capsaicin. And then you mentioned Down by the River. course and distance, 4 starts for 2 wins, never far off them, having his third run back. I know he's 42 weeks since his last win, but he's really there and thereabouts. And one of these days, especially now with just 51.5 kgs on his back, he's going to pop up and go very close, if not win. So Down by the River must go into all bets. But I'm in your camp, Kitchikel. You've gone 5, 5, 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 7. I'm going 5, 11, 7. So we're pretty similar for the third.
Well, scratched is number 10, Bristol Hercules, at the early time of recording, a change of stable. And then number 8, I Salute You, will have to be given a mention on that imposing run. Ran alongside Kitchikel, and there shouldn't be much to choose between them. But when it comes down to the crunch, number 5, Kitchikel's the horse to beat, and the value could be number 7, Down by the River.
Fourth race on the card is the JS Automotive Bosch C Stakes. It's over 2,400 meters. 2:15 is the time of the race, a carded time, and it's the first leg of Jackpot. 110,000 Rand is the stakes that they're racing for, and long distance race, 2.4 kilometers. At the time of recording, no scratchings to report, but again we urge you, check all that. It's a pre-recorded show. Sheldon, I'm not looking for too many upsets here. The 3 horses, I'm playing with 3 horses. They're going to go into my exotics, boxed exactors. Selection wise, I'm not so sure, but these are the 3 horses that I'll be including in all my bets. If any other than these 3 feature, I'm out. 7, the Mikado. Ultra consistent, always there and thereabouts. I remember Frank Robinson on an interview once saying that he wasn't a straightforward customer, the Mikado, but he certainly got some ability. So he's got a big tick for me, the Mikado. I like him. He was a winner at his penultimate start, beating Mr. Fix-It quite convincingly. That was a middle stakes at Hollywoodbets Greyville. So that's the first horse. Second horse is Flying Cool. Obviously we have an interest in that, and the last time he won, it was over this course and distance. He beat Captain Oliver. His last run was fair over the 1950, but his penultimate start, his penultimate win, you've got to put him in, so he gets a tick from me. The word from the yard is that he's fit and well. By no means a racing certainty, but a horse that certainly can be given an each-way chance. As always, the form is there for all to see. And then the third horse is the I think talented Captain Oliver. He does have an awkward draw, but he's got the whole of Hollywoodbets Scottsville, Serena Moodley, to sort that out. His last run to French Trip was good, decent form, lightly raced, and I think he's going to be end up being way better than a merit rate at 83, Captain Oliver. So 7, 9 and 11 boxed exactors, those are my 3.
Well, just looking at the betting, number 12, Captain Oliver, that is your current favourite at 7-2 with number 8, Uzwana. They're both trading at 7-2. Number 11, Fortune Hunter, is 6-1. And then number 7, the Mikado, and number 5, Woodland Glade, along with number 9, Flying Cool. They're all around 8-1 when it comes down to that department. Now, Warren's given his thoughts on the race. And I also like number 7, the Mikado. You'll see I make him one of the value bets on the day. He won well, beating Mr. Fix-It in his penultimate run, and I think do yourself a favor and watch the replay of his last run where his stable companion absolutely waltzed in. But I think number 7, the Mikado, is far better than that run suggests. Both his wins have been on the turf, and I think he'll be out to make amends at a decent price. Number 5, Woodland Glade, she is a filly and she's got that upset type about her. And number 4, Mountains of the Moon, but a very, very open looking affair, race number 4, so it goes wide as your budget will allow. But when it comes down to the shove and the push, number 7, the Mikado, for me at around 8 and 10-1, that could just prove the value each way. Moving along to race number 5, which is over 1,400 meters. Kanika Minolta Class 4, and the benchmark is 60 kilograms, capped at 80. Not capped at 80, but 80 kilograms would be the benchmark, 80 and 60 kilograms, 1,400 meters the trip. Now looking at the betting, they have number 5 Plaza Record at 4-1. Now here's a horse who's a one-time winner. He's dropped down to a 76 in the ratings, and more importantly, he's a horse that's got the ability. Number 1 Palermo at 9-2 from 5-1. He has another horse who's yet to win at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, but will be looking to make amends. Number 3 Sweeper Keeper, another horse who's yet to win at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. The only 2 wins have come at Greyville. And let's see about number 4, which is in the betting from the Alison Wright camp, also won at Greyville. So looking at this race, number 7 Comedy Club, all 4 runs also at Greyville. Being sweet and short, I'm going to go number 5 Plaza Accord to beat number 7 Comedy Club and number 3 Sweeper Keeper, and then throw in number 1 Palermo off a decent weight, Warren.
5, 7, 3, 1. Yep, those are Sheldon's numbers. Plaza Record, it looks like it's time for him to notch up his next career victory. He's come down a little in the rating to a 76. He is making us wait a bit for his next win, but he's always thereabouts. He gives a good account of himself every time he comes to the races, and it would be fitting for him to notch up his next win. And we believe, Sheldon and I, that he can do just that. Slytherin could be absolutely anything. Who Blinked has helped the form. Who Blinked, and he's going to end up being way better than an 82 in my opinion. So he could be anything. You include him and respect him in all your bets. Palermo, it's well documented his situation with regards to the starting stalls. He's been nightmarish for Tini Prinsloo and Rakesh Singh. But they seem to be getting him right, this horse Palermo. He loaded last time, but he did fly jump. He, though, ran third, 5.5 lengths to Ice Kingdom, so it was a good effort. I don't think we've seen the best of Palermo just yet. He's having his 12th, 13th start, lightly raced 4-year-old, and obviously, you know, his issues have held him back a bit, but if they can get that right, I think he'll go on and win races. He's a draw strike, Sheldon. He's been drawn 14 out of 15 and 10 out of 11 in his last 2 starts. Today he gets gate 1. He gets 56 kilograms due to the allowance from Rachel Vinica. So Palermo is a massive runner, but it's hard to tip a horse like that because you just don't know what he's going to do at the starting stalls. So those are the numbers for the 5th race. 5 Plaza Record, 4 Slytherin, 1 Palermo, and 7 Comedy Club. But those are the ones that were discussed. 3 Sweeper Keeper as well. But after all is said and done, Sheldon and I are in the camp of Plaza Record for the win. Welcome back to the studio for the discussion and selections of race number 6. And race number 6 is a Class 4 with the benchmark 80, and it's the Velverite Class 4. 25 past 3 is the race time. 120,000 rand is what they're racing for. And scratched is number 8, Ratoto. I think that was also the reason given on the official website, change of stable. So number 8, Ratoto, is scratched, which leaves us down to Magma Magic, Rooster Bradshaw, Numzan, My Boy Lollipop, Blackberry Breeze, Stars in Heaven, Imma, Red Mountain, and Apex Warrior. I'm going light and very light, Sheldon. 2 horses, and I think we're going to be quite similar. Well, I say 2 horses for the pick 6. Quartets, trifectas, I'm including Red Mountain, I'm including Apex Warrior, because they're long prices, they never fall off the action, and they can get into the action. But for the win, Stars in Heaven, Numzan. Now, Numzan has been a little costly to follow for me personally, and I'm sure for the punters, because you look at the prices that he's gone off, 3-1 favourite, 14-10 favourite, so he's been a little costly to follow. But he's having his 3rd start in the province, 3rd start for Frikkie Krailing. He's improved both times, and he was just unlucky not to put his nose down last time. So I'm not going to turn my back on him, although he's been costly to follow. I think he's possibly, maybe with 52 kilograms, a banker for jackpots and pick sixes, etc. But I've got huge respect for Stars in Heaven, who carries 60.5. He's won his last 2 impressively, and the hat-trick is definitely on the card. So, as I hand back to you, Red Mountain, Apex Warrior, Quartet, Trifecta type of horses. For the 1st place, Numzan, Stars in Heaven. I'm going with Numzan for the 3rd time, and hopefully the 3rd time's a charm.
Well, you could be spot on the button. Last time out, the word was this horse was unbeatable. And I think back on the turf, this is going to be a different proposition. I think number 3, Numzan, when you see this horse go down to the start in the preliminaries, he's going to take your breath away. He's had the 2 runs recently, a 3rd and a 2nd, and it's now time for him to strike and draw out that weapon, and that's the winning weapon. His secret turn of foot, he's got some healthy cruising speed, and he turns it on. So at all intents and purposes, 52 kilograms on the back. Number 3, Numzan, definitely the horse to beat. Number 6, Stars in Heaven, unbeaten, 1-from-1 course and distance. And as I mentioned in the previous show, I was at the course when Gareth Van Zyl and Gavin Van Zyl brought their horses out to gallop. And this was one of those, Stars in Heaven. So despite the layoff, he has had a good blowout and some work during the rainy periods. But in summarizing race number 6, number 3, Numzan, and number 6, Stars in Heaven, I believe these are the 2 horses that you have to look at. And once you go beyond those, you can be the judge if you want to include any other horses. As we move along to race number 7, this is the Tash Fire Engineers Sea Stakes for a net rating of 83 and below over 1,000 meters. And when you look at the best weighted column, you'll see that the top of the boards are the fillies. Number 3, Vision to Achieve, who's actually a 4-year-old daughter of Vercingetorix. You then got number 6, a Yui. Number 2, Lady of Vix. So the first couple, they're looking to get the fillies home in this race here. The betting has number 2, Lady of Vix at 7-2. Number 4, Ibele, 7-2. Now this is a horse we've been keeping a very close eye on. If getting the right ride and things mapping out with the apprentice aboard, this is a huge runner. Number 6, a Yui at 9-2, looking to put that last run behind over 1100, back to the 1,000-meter trip. And then you got the recent horse number 3, Vision to Achieve, who's running exceptionally well. And then number 9, Rugger Lover at 7-1. 10-1 and better the rest. And I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball here, Warren. My value selection in the race, not my first selection, but number 8, B52. I know he's been quite disappointing. He's yet to win at the course, but they've elected to put a pair of blinkers and the apprentice on.
B52 from the stable of Peter Muscat. This young apprentice is certainly catching the eye. Yeah, he's just had a handful of rides, and he really, chatting to a couple of the trainers, is catching the eye. So I have a lot of faith in young apprentice Bongane, and yep, that weight off this horse B52 will help. He is testing our patience, 46 weeks since the last win, but yeah, a small concern is he's been at the course 7 times for a blank. But he's a horse that, you're quite right, Sheldon, they've put blinkers on now, as you've alluded to. You can never leave him out because he doesn't run bad races. 4 lengths off, 2.8 lengths, 6 lengths, 5 lengths. He's thereabouts, and he really he's knocking at the door. He's waiting in the wings, this horse B52, and he's a decent price. So you could certainly be onto something at that price. As you say, it's not your first choice, but he's a horse that certainly would be worth maybe a bit of a place bet. So yes, I can have B52. I can see why you like him, and he must go into everything. So that's 8B52 gets a pass from me. The rest, Ebele, we certainly have been keeping an eye on Ebele. His last start was fair. He had the blinkers put on. He now gets Blaine Marks Jacobson to take weight off. That'll help. He's another young rider who's also catching the eye, and one that could have a bright future. So Ibele, if he had to win, I wouldn't be shocked at all. Intriguing filly for me is Lady of Vix. I'm battling to work her out because I think she's quite good. I thought she would win first time out the maidens. She didn't. She ran second. She showed a lot of pace. I wasn't going to be hard on her about running second. Her next start, she ran 5th. She was drawn right up on the outside at Hollywoodbets Scottsville up the straight, 2.5 to Rani of Johnsy. She gets the opposite side of the track this time. She gets drawn 2. I think she's a talented filly. She's nicely bred, expensive filly, and I think there's lots to like about Lady of Vix. And we could go on and on and on and talk about quite a few because it is that difficult. But my parting shot is Ibele, Lady of Vix, a Yui, even a Yui worth a mention, and of course your horse we're going to respect, B52. But there are others.
100% right. When you look beyond those, you've got number 1, Rafa's Boy, who has done well for the connections, never far off the action. Lady of Vix, the jury's still out for me against the boys in this weight department. Obviously, the fillies are well weighted in the mares, but she's going to be a horse that I will include. And then the roughie could be number 5, Music is Life, along with B52. So cast your net as wide as your budget will allow. I think the 7-2 about Lady of Vix could just be the wrong price, although if a winner wins at 7-2, they're the right price. But for me in this race, I think there's some hefty opposition from the boys. And number 4, Ibele, that'll probably be the horse that they all have to beat. And then after that, throw in horses like 5, Music is Life, and number 8, B52.
Time now to have a look at the 8th and final race for you. It's a Class 4 for fillies and mares with the benchmark at 80. 110,000 Rand is the stakes money, and it's over 1,200 meters up straight at glorious Hollywoodbets Scottsville at 25 to 5. 16:35 is the off time. Sheldon, 2 horses that catch my eye. I am going to go pretty light. In fact, 3 horses that catch my eye. It's all about budget. Yes, again, these kind of races, when you dig deep and you talk and you talk and you dissect, you can find more and more and more. But you have to control yourself because of budget purposes. And the 3 horses for me: 1, Emerald Green, and then 4, Smart Cookie, and 6, Colorado Creek. Colorado Creek for Sibanisa in Nobo has come good. This filly, her last start was good behind Tomaris. She seems to run well for Kabela Matsunyani, and I think she'll be very competitive. 1, Smart Cookie, wow, what a filly, ultra consistent, like an absolute ATM, and she's gone twice to the winners' enclosure. Both those times were at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. Her last run to Rani of Johnsy was good. We'll see in the previous race, because Lady of Vix ran to Rani of Johnsy, and we'll see how that performed to compare it with the second here to Rani of Johnsy. And then Emerald Green, forget that last run. She recorded back-to-back wins before that. She's better than that last run. So 1, Emerald Green, 4, Smart Cookie, and 6, Colorado Creek. But the way in preference, 6-4-1 for me.
Well, just looking at the betting, number 4, 1, Smart Cookie is your 3-1 favorite. Number 6, Colorado Creek, in the form of her life, at 33-10. Number 1, Emerald Green, who absolutely loves the course and distance, a 3-time winner course and distance with a string of placings. That's at 9-2. Number 2, Rafif's Choice at 6-1. And then I'm throwing in a little bit of a roughie. Number 7, Ubu Kwebazana. If you look at that last run behind Emerald Green, on that occasion was 2.6 behind. I think it's 2.5 kilograms better off. The only concern for me with Ubu Kwebazana, when winning those 2 races, went up 13 points, has only come down the 1 point, from an 80 down to a 79. After those last 4 runs, I would have thought maybe down to a 75, 76. That would give me a bit more confidence. But if you go back to the run on the 29th of September, it was a 96 handicap, finished back in 8th behind Russian Doll, 5 lengths behind, 5 lengths to Shanta's Pride. And if those type of horses were in this field, they'd be the horses to beat. So number 7, Ubu Kwebazana, I'm going to give this one a light say. And number 10, Taurus Star. Although no help in the handicap really, they have done the smart move, and I believe it could be the winning move or the place move, with putting Msolisi Mbuta up to take the 4 kgs off. But for me, numbers 7 and 10, those could be the 2 value horses for the swingers and trifectas. Warren?
Well, there we go. That's what we're looking for. That's what we want, the value. And Sheldon could be onto something here, especially with Ubu Kwebazana and Taurus Star, another young rider, Mkhalisi Mbuto, that's catching the eye. So that's it. My numbers, 6-4-1. Sheldon's numbers 7 and 10. That's why we do the show together. In the beginning parts, there were quite a few races where we were on song. We were shouting snap with our selections, but as the race meetings progressed and got more and more difficult, things have changed a bit. But I'm going to mash all those selections together, include them all. 7 and 10 is the value from Sheldon's opinion, and then 6-4-1 my selections. But that's it, race 8. That's a wrap for us, and Sheldon's got his suggested bet coming up next, so don't stray or go away. Pay attention.
Welcome back. It's that time of the show where we give our suggested bet for the day, and you'll see that I've gone a little bit different on this occasion as we bring up that slide, and I've gone with 2 runners to go into the play and obviously include the rest of the runners that we have described throughout the show. Right, race 3, number 5, Kitchakil. I believe course and distance is going to be right up this one's alley. Atendiwe Mbuto gets a real good tune out of this fella, so I'm expecting a big run. Then race 4, number 7, the Mikado, at around 8 and 10 to 1. I believe that's also a huge runner. And I'm going to go as far as to say race 8, number 7, Ubukwebazana. That's another runner that you need to throw in. So Kitchakil in race 3, number 5. Race 4, number 7, the Mikado. And then race 8, number 7, Ubukwebazana. These are horses who all could come to life on the day. Been a wonderful show today. Thanks very much to Warren and Ferner and the entire team. And hopefully we catch you where you belong, in the number 1 box.